So, today we'll paint a portrait of a boy with a wonderful expression of joy. We'll paint with patches as usual on a 40 by 50 canvas per the palette. I'll add the description in the comments for anyone who needs it. So let's begin. Start with the largest patches. The approach, as I always say, is the simplest one. If you're just learning portrait painting, this is the simplest, you could say, workflow. We start with the silhouette. I pick up basically just some orange color, yellow, red. Maybe you can add a little bit of brown to dirty it up a bit. Is it visible like this? Yes, it's visible. It doesn't matter what shade it is here. Well, it's not that important in this case. We're just outlining the silhouette. Look, start as roughly and blocky as possible. You don't need any special skill to begin here. The first stage, the first half, is when we move from spots to a person, and that includes a child as well. Anyone can fully complete each step, no matter their skill. If you're not afraid, if you don't worry about what's right or wrong, just do it, through spots. Found the silhouette. Next, we outline the shoulders. If you're having trouble even at this initial stage, mark thirds on your canvas. Divide each side into 3 parts and mark your reference photo the same way into thirds. If the format and composition are the same, meaning you have the face and shoulders, it won't be difficult to find the size of the head, meaning where and approximately what size it will be. Also, if you make a mistake, you can always move it back and forth. I'll show you everything now. I covered the silhouette and we'll cover the background next. Basically, the very first thing I do is cover the white canvas, which interferes with perceiving tonal relationships because compared to white, all colors seem darker and the brain resists it. It's afraid to darken things. That's why you need to cover the canvas so the white color doesn't get in the way. And then, well, we cover the canvas, of course, we try to do it right away with colors and tones similar to how it actually is. Well, basically, I like the background that's in the photo. I'm going to do it now. I have a dark green color up there, and I'll do it right away. I'll do it now. We mix it to a more liquid consistency at first and use dirtier colors. It's easier to make the transition to cleaner ones. It's easier to mess everything up first, and later it will be a bit harder, or it's harder to darken it, so we make it dirtier, darker. At first, I want to go straight into the hair. I just take brown right away and separate the hair from the head, or rather from the face. And basically I mix a little bit of shadow with some red and brown and put the shadow at the bottom, just like that. You can even cover up the clothes actually. I mixed some blue in here. Since there are headphones here, I might add them later, but I'm not sketching them in yet. You could darken the lower part more. Right away. If you see any very dark colors anywhere, try to take care of them right away. You need to find them, so that you don't end up with everything looking pale. You need to make the appropriate adjustments right away. Same for the top. I'm darkening it further. With established tonal relationships, everything is easier to see. Here we have asphalt. Overall, I'm satisfied with this. It's a nice gray that fits well here. Same thing, I take white, add a bit of our mix. Since it's a cool gray, I add red to warm it, creating our gray color. Let's try. This one looks darker and cooler. Maybe I should add some yellow. I take more white, yellow, and red. So I'm turning the gray into a warm color, a warm shade. Let's try. Overall, okay, that'll do. I've covered everything with diluted paint. Starting with a liquid consistency allows us to make it so that in one session we can do several layers that won't really interfere with each other. And accordingly, it dries quickly. So we already have this white border base. Don't leave it. Cover everything immediately. It's better if you go over the clothes with the background or the background with the clothes, but at least you won't have any gaps. You'll get a clear picture. I just mixed things up a bit. don't get hung up on precision at the beginning. We don't need it right now. Let's go over these in more detail. Some kind of blue, you too. There we have the base. By the way, this brush I have is Flace 40 Well, size 40, which means 4 centimeters. So I'm wiping it off from the cool shades. And with this same brush, basically, it's already a bit too big for the face, but while you have the chance, use the biggest brush possible. Feeling uncomfortable? If it doesn't fit on larger areas, try a smaller brush. Look at the eye sockets if we turn the head. Let's see how they go, how our proportions go from the hairline to the eyebrows, to the base of the nose, to the chin. It's roughly the same part. It's a bit different for children. Their upper part of the head, meaning the forehead and the head itself, is bigger than the facial part. So, look at your reference. Where is it approximately? Like this. But when you make the eye sockets like this, like big glasses, right, it's also very good that the shadow is illuminated here. The lighting is good, it's natural, and we really see the natural volume. It's very important for you to have good lighting as well. Because if the lighting on your face is bad, or if there's some kind of backlight, it makes the work much harder and makes it difficult to see the volume. So it's better to use a good reference for learning. So, the eye sockets are here. I've sketched a bit of shadow under the nose, the lips are somewhere here, the ear is here, and another ear here. So we already have something here. It's all about following the form and proportions. Let's keep going, let's move on. I'll take a smaller brush. I still need more darks. So we're working from contrasts, or through contrasts. First we find the darkest, then the lightest, and then the midtones. That's how it goes. I don't have enough darks, it's very important to find them as accurately as possible in terms of tone. Again, I'm also starting to refine the shapes now, but it's important to get the tone right so that the volumes fall into place. Now I'm darkening it a little, and look, it's already starting to show. I can sketch the eyes now. I have the eye sockets and like their volume. The forehead is large and a small nose is forming. See, there's a letter T shape at the nose. Compare this T shape, how long it is, whether it's more elongated, wider, and so on. And if it looks similar, you can start refining a bit. So here I am, the eyes. We have a tilt, we shouldn't forget about that either. By the way, the face is almost facing forward, maybe just a slight tilt this way. This part is slightly smaller than the other. There. In this regard, the reference is pretty simple. There aren't any complicated angles, so again, for learning, don't pick complicated references. You need to choose ones that are clear to you. Regarding lighting, volumes, and form placement. Alright, so here, basically, I like that he has headphones. I think I'll go ahead and sketch out these headphones now. They act as a kind of accessory, you know, they add some colorfulness. So I think I'll add them, so it looks like they're going somewhere around here. I'll sketch it out here now. With the same brush, I take some dark color with the tip so I don't dirty the whole brush. I cover it. I mix in a little bit of blue there. I sketch out our headphone. The second one goes here. Right here. And they're bright. My big brush, the one I had, it's not too dirty, I think. They're in some bright colors. For now, I'll just add a light color just to show its shape. I just gave a little hint and that's it. And I actually like it. He has a backpack there. The color is kind of brown. Oh, Christ, brown. I'll add that too because it's so light and colorful. So, once we've more or less decided where everything is located, we can already start adding a few shades. While I have this brush in this brownish orange color, I'll probably add it right away to the portrait. So that's how you get this middle tone. Yeah, that's right. Now we're preserving it. I'm closing it. Look, the sides of the head and face, they get darker, and we accordingly need to darken them. It's actually kind of cool here, right? You can see everything. Even purple. Maybe a little bit here. Look, I'm going to do this for teaching purposes, even though I know. I'll add the cool tones now. When teaching, I start with the warm tones, then add the cool ones. I think today I'll show you how I usually do it now. So if I see a cool shade, I try to add everything right away. And if I want to create a colorful portrait, something more abstract, then I mix a lot of different colors right from the start. I think I'll show you that now because I've already shown you the usual way. So I take a smaller brush again. I refine the neck, and right here I'll refine this as well. To be continued. Collar, or more precisely, it's not a collar, it's from headphones, just like that. Here it's more or less shaped, and this brush suits me. It's big in size. And now I'll start refining. Let's add the lightest parts since the dark ones are done. Let's add the lightest parts. As you can see, they're already light, just like they were originally. We need to refine their tone. I've mixed this color and I'm satisfied with this tone. It's really good. In fact, you can even simply cover almost everything that should be light with it. It works really well. The tone fits very nicely right now. Where I want to blend a little, I just softly go over it with the tip of the brush and it blends together with the previous shape or color. And this in turn gives me a sort of middle color, not the exact one that's on the brush. We get a nasolabial fold here, a cooler one. I added a slightly cooler shade. And the cool shade, this same shade is here too, look, there's a bit of a hint here and here as well. I add them right away. I had this cool shade here, I just mixed in a bit of my brown. So where else? Right here. We work on the entire painting at once. Also, the hair is in the light. Something like this shade, meaning it's dirtier than this one. You also need to do them right away. Find them. Here he is slowly. How much time has passed for us? 12, probably. 13, and we already have the image appearing. What should we do next? I'm refining it gradually. I'll keep using this brush for now, even though it's a bit too large for what we're doing. But again, as I told you, we work as much as possible with a big brush. As long as we have the opportunity. This works really well. It gives the painting a certain liveliness. And we don't get hung up on little details that we don't need right now. I'm finding the eyes. Eyes, little beads. So look, I squint and check the sizes. Does it look right? Step back and view it from a distance. This is important. Well, of course, we can always fix everything later. But it's really important to get these main key points right. We need to try to hit them. If we don't get them right, we can always move them later. The brain will always tell you, because when it already sees the spots, it can tell what's accurate and what's not. The further we go, the more accurately the brain will see what's right and what's wrong. So I feel like adding some green here. I'll add it right away. I'll even take a bright green now. We can add bright colors and if needed, soften or remove them later, but for now experiment and definitely include them. Otherwise, when everything is already finished, it will be hard to make yourself do it. It might feel like you could ruin it or something, but while nothing is set yet, boldly add different shades and try things out. If you don't like it, you'll feel it right away. Look, at first, when we add some color, it's really bright. It might seem out of place or not pretty, but don't rush to remove it. Let it stay on the canvas for a while. Because while it's alone, without the support of similar colors, it will seem out of place. Later when we... Well, how should I put it? If we support it with similar colors nearby, it will look completely different. So don't rush to remove all of these spots. So the image is all there. I want to work with shades. There's not enough bright pink right now. Pink, something bright. Let's add it. Well, not everywhere, of course. By the way, the lips have matched up now. For the teeth, I'll take a small brush right away so I don't use the big one. At the base, it's lighter, and towards the edges it's more pinkish. Kind of, they fade into the shadow. Don't focus on details too quickly, as they may not be in place yet. Keep reminding yourself, right? Even though we've covered spots, mistakes can happen. Yes, let's check the general shapes once again. Take a look around and see what's what. If you remind yourself of this more often, you'll have to redo less, but you'll still have to redo things gradually anyway. It's normal to move things around there often. To get it right the first time, exactly, just perfectly to size. Of course, it's possible, but that's usually just an exception. He has a bit of a tilt overall. The tilt of his head, by the way, I lost it a little. That's a normal thing. I mean, whenever you forget a bit about the tilt, your brain starts to straighten it out. We're straightening it out for the eye. I'm raising this one a bit and lowering that one. Right now, I'm raising this one slightly. The smile is also a bit tilted. The nose is tilted. The smile, the chin, we approach it last. It's the very last thing we do. It's also a bit too big right now, but of course that can be fixed. That's it. I'm mixing our gray again and removing the extra. This is something with the chin. Constantly moving it back and forth is also normal. Added, removed, added, removed. So, did we get the tilt or not? I can't tell. More. I'm trying to tilt it. Then let's tilt the lips a little more too, I guess. We also get such an interesting image. So, look, the ears go almost to the smile. So did I do it right here? This ear goes a little higher right here. And it ends somewhere around here, same here. So my ears are usually, well, unusual. Often if I forget about them, they end up bigger. And they're mostly positioned lower. It's a very useful thing to have when you check yourself for what mistakes you make. You can do this using a tablet to check, that is, to trace your reference and overlay your drawing on top of it. And when you do this, you find You notice your usual mistakes after checking once or twice, like always drawing the eyebrows too high or low. Oh, my nose is long. You gradually fix these mistakes by checking yourself and remembering them during the process. It's like, let's check. I always make ears big. Did I just do that again? And when you start checking them often, all these mistakes go away. But you shouldn't think that at some point it might seem to you that you don't make any mistakes. This skill of estimation is like a muscle. It needs to be constantly trained. If you don't practice for a while, you end up forgetting this skill a little, and then you have to restore it again. So you shouldn't think that if you learned it once, you'll always be able to do it. To maintain a skill, you need to use it. I like how it's turning out. Let's do the eyes now too. Gray again, like the background, not white under any circumstances. Oh, look at the eyes. They were dark spots, but now I added some white. No, we even have a bit of the lower eyelid. Let's darken it a bit like this. We compare this distance to check if the nose is correctly positioned. Seems like it. Not bad. So, brown red. And we're also refining the shape of the eyes. So first we find this O of ours. The pupil with the iris, then the white part, the eyeball, and then the upper and lower eyelids. More precisely, I'm not rushing to add details right now. You shouldn't forget that you might not place it quite accurately right now. For now, I'm just trying to roughly block them in with patches. Well, of course, we'll try to clarify some things here and there, but it's very important not to get too caught up in details right now, because maybe the eyes aren't even in the right place. That can easily happen. The more we clarify, the sooner we'll see how accurately it's done. And accordingly, by the way, my ear, for example, is more or less in the right place, but the neck almost goes along the lower lip, so it's somewhere around here, and here's the neck already. The shoulder starts here and here. Much bigger, we have somewhere there's an earpiece. There's also hair behind the ear, by the way. Well, not just seams, but definitely. Now it seems like this part, the yellow and white, are starting to match. Let's do this right away. This part here. I forgot what it's called. This thing on the headphones that holds the ear cup itself, you can actually sketch it out a bit like this right away. This design on the headphones themselves is bright. It might even happen spontaneously, we'll see. So I got really into working with a small brush. You can just take an average brush like this and use it to add the details. I'm mixing a bright, juicy peach color, yellow, white, red, really super just pure while the brush is still clean. I add it and see where it fits for me. Here looks good. Here, well, it's not bad either. Of course, you shouldn't add the same color everywhere, too much of it. Now I'm making the color lighter. And I add some more. This way I'm increasing the contrasts and the volumes even more. So, the eyes aren't close together for me. As if they're a bit too close. I also have this thing where I often make the eyes too close together. You need to check that too. The wings of the nose, maybe they're a bit too small, but his look kind of flared. Oh, it's too unclear here as well. So yeah, let's widen the eyes a little bit. The distance to the head and hair, you can also refine it further. Because most likely you'll need to remove some of the excess from the background now. We usually notice we need a break only after our eyes are already tired. At the end, just to add some finishing touches. We can do something that doesn't require much effort, precision, or anything like that. So, for example, we can freshen up the background a little bit. That won't be hard to do in almost any condition. Well, breaks are a super important thing. So you can look at it with fresh eyes. You might keep struggling and struggling with the painting, but in fact, you're just tired and you can't even see what's where anymore. I'll take a break since it's like this. It immediately becomes clear what stage you're at. Alright, let's start the second stage, the clarification stage. So, I took a little break, caught my breath, and overall I can see some things I'd like to adjust. First, the face is too wide, so I'll narrow it a bit. It also feels like there's too much head. So, now we're going to fix it. We'll start right away with the big things, like where's the hair? Make it a little smaller. And this side too. Well, overall it seems fine. You can even leave it like this. I want this side to be a little bit narrower. There's too much space right here. Here it's not bad. The chin is overall fine. Just need to work out the shadows better. But here, it's a bit too much. We'll remove it now. It turns out you'll give it with this color. With gray, somewhere around here, we remove it like this. And the ear will go further, but we'll discuss that soon. To often find this boundary, you can remove it with a margin so that later you can understand where we have. This boundary as well, that is, we take more, we handle more than necessary, and in this way we understand where this boundary will be, that is, in what range. In short, we need to take Bakemannik. The brain begins shutting down, which is normal. In the process, I tighten my face a little. They made fun of me, but it's okay. Looks pretty good. Okay, eyes a little bit. That's already there. The nose just a bit. I think I need to move it here. Doing some advertising. It's pretty good. So right now we're just gradually refining things, systematically improving everything. For us, size-wise, the shapes are mostly fine. We just have to work on the tonality and the shades. We can whiten the teeth a bit. I'm not zooming in on the photo yet, but honestly, at this point, you can already start zooming in and checking the details. Because sometimes you draw something and then you zoom in and it turns out to be something else. So you see certain spots and you interpret them differently from how they actually are. Well, something like that. Right, and I want to step back a bit, add some contrast a bit in the background and switch things up. Turquoise, some yellow. Although I think it'll also be great with a bit of pink. Pink, or maybe bad. I'll add more blue, more turquoise around it to highlight it a little bit. And you can also highlight the lip fold a little more. Some already. In the ambience, some subtle things appear, thin little details that I hadn't noticed before. The shaded corners near the lips are very important. Highlights in specific areas add volume and convey it better. Here already. There isn't really much of that. It's all kind of important, but at the same time, the main part is already there. These things are already barely noticeable, which slowly form the whole picture, though each part alone goes unnoticed. So, well, we have a little bit. It's starting to show. I want to add some more cool, maybe even blue tones. I'll try it now. Right now, I have a small brush. Now I can make these headphones and shapes bright. The brightest ones. It's like I suddenly became an adult. Unexpectedly. Alright, let's add some more shades. We can add some red as well. I do these things intuitively. There's a practical side, for example. I know red always works well. It brings a portrait to life. There are also the same blues you just saw, different shades that often work well. But sometimes, depending on the specific face and the lighting, you come across them. The green on the chin worked well, and probably made it look softer. And here too, you can add something like that. Stronger. Alright, the final stage. So now I'll be adding accents, maybe blending in some places, clarifying in others. You could use a palette knife, for example. Do something like this to create a little bit of, and some handmade spots, so that it's not all let everything be neutral. And you can use a palette knife to add an accent to the background. We had a nice warm gray. Here's the warm gray. Now I'm making subtitles. Wow. light. Add a little more lighter color under the new apple. Don't rush to lighten the eyeball. It's better to make it a little darker rather than lighter. Otherwise, if you make it lighter, the eye immediately looks artificial. Highlights. Let's do it. Too much. I used my finger to remove some excess. That's it. Now I'll add a little more orange hair. On the transitional border between light and shadow. There, that's fine. I think it's strong. Now, let's stop here. Share your thoughts on this format in the comments. Feel free to ask questions. I'll gladly answer. Well, here it is. For any questions, I'll leave a link to my contacts. You can always find me. Write to me. Good luck. We have glares that need to be highlighted. So, in general, I added some light areas here and there, wherever I wanted. Wow. Well, that's definitely all for now. Wishing everyone creative success.